Hello people of the internet, it's Amanda, and for today's video we're going to be discussing episode 15 of Hanyo no Yashahime. Now this is an episode that I've been looking forward to, not just when I saw the preview from last week, but ever since the beginning when they sort of like teased that something major has happened, and therefore that's why the main three characters in this series don't exactly know their parents. I've been waiting for this explanation episode for quite some time now, and I've expressed, my frustrations or sort of like my disappointment when it came to like the earlier parts of the narrative, but I was pretty excited about this one. But before I start discussing, my thoughts on this particular episode where we sort of got some answers already, I just want to say that last week's video was sort of like me explaining, basically this one, like my expectations for episode 15. And obviously, like as with my other videos, I do invite people to share their thoughts with me in the comment section and just discuss things with me, because obviously my way of doing videos is that I don't exactly do it in a detailed type of manner. This is just me from a layman's perspective of someone viewing a certain anime or a certain show or anything like that. Like this is more of like a friendly, natural approach to things. And so I keep on missing details, and that's just how I do things here, and that's why I encourage people to talk to me down in the comments and share their thoughts with me. It's just that one thing that I highly discourage and am disappointed by, especially in last week's video, is how crazy things got. I understand that there are certain issues that have been going around ever since the beginning of the series, or even prior to that in the original series, given the whole Sesshomaru thing, and people have their own opinions about the matter. As for me, I was just mainly like banking on whatever it is that I'm seeing in the narrative that makes a lot more sense. It's just that a lot of people, are analyzing things a bit differently and have their own views about it and stuff like that. And the thing is, for me, it's okay to have that kind of discourse. It's just that I don't appreciate, people fighting in a way that you're to the point that they're insulting each other outside of the context of whatever it is that's the topic of the video. So I hope that for this particular video, please be kind to one another in the comment section, or at least have a very healthy discussion about the topic, because it's highly frustrating for me as well. Anyway, so with that said, let's just get to the review and the recap and everything like that. So let's do it. Finally, we got the answers sort of as to where the rainbow pearls came from. So there are like certain origins to it here and there, but one main factor is basically it comes from tears, women's tears, and I don't exactly know how that qualifies or anything like that, because we saw that Zero, which is a female demon, she has the ability to like do that as well, and then Inuyasha's mother, who's a mortal, also had that. Like it's kind of confusing as to how it comes to be like, unlike the Shikon Jewel where it has its own like origin thing where it came from. So for this one, it's more of like, okay, so it came from this, and yeah, and then there's this thing where it's planted in the eye. So Inuyasha has it and stuff, and it's kind of interesting because this isn't something that was introduced in the original series, and I totally understand that. It's just that it's one of those things where you sort of like think that where was this fact back then, or how could have that been helpful back then, like knowing that kind of information? I don't know. But to me, a lot of details in this particular episode, as much as it tries to like answer our questions, it also felt a bit haphazard just as a whole. if Riku is the one who's narrating the story, so we find out that, obviously, not really find out, but more of like confirm that he's not who he seems to be. It's just that his own intentions and who exactly is he in this entire narrative is still unclear at this point. But it showed that, there's this big catastrophe happening, and I was laughing so hard about it because a lot of elements in this episode feels more of like that, a cross between like Kimi no Na wa, in a way, where there's a comet approaching and then some of its bits, like separate, so there's a big catastrophe happening. And obviously, like, Sesshomaru and Inuyasha had to work together to sort of like salvage the entire situation. And that entire thing felt a little bit anticlimactic for me because it basically just happened just that. And what's frustrating is one of the initial options was to get Kirinmaru or wake Kirinmaru to help out in the entire situation. But then it was more of like Sesshomaru and Inuyasha doing their own thing. But then Kirinmaru was still awakened because of this whole like abomination thing that Sesshomaru had kids and Inuyasha had a kid, and there's this prophecy thing that had like Yashahimes are the ones who's going to cause Kirinmaru's demise. Felt very Harry Potter to me, and it's kind of like all these things packed into one episode. It felt a little bit too like I haven't been able to like process everything or care about anything or anyone, and then eventually like it gives me this entire thing. So again, I'm not particularly complaining that we finally got answers for this particular episode. It's just the way as to how it was delivered. Like, for example, Kagome, after everything she's gone through, I honestly was kind of like frustrated how she just believed Riku like that, and she doesn't even know him. It was more of like, didn't you sense anything in him? I don't know, like it just felt like everyone was sort of like dumbed down for this, like the characters, I mean, and I don't know, it was just kind of like frustrating because, again, as much as I'm happy that we got answers, like there's again confirmation that Rin is actually the mother of the twins, so that's a fact that is like being, thrown back and forth for so long now, and here's the confirmation. It's just that obviously there's so many things that it could have been divided into like 2 episodes at least for us to be able to like understand and appreciate it more. It's just that, again, like for example with the whole Kirinmaru thing, I wanted to feel that he's an actual threat. Like that was something that I felt like was missing from this particular episode. Is I didn't really feel anything at all because there was no sense of fear that was established as to why he shouldn't be awakened. It was more of like, you shouldn't be awakened because shit's about to get loose if ever he does. So I felt like, it could have been a lot harder, and it could have been, an inevitable thing where Inuyasha and Sesshomaru absolutely cannot deal with the situation or the catastrophe, so they had to wake Kirinmaru up, and that's like a story of its own, and then a story of them working together and then them reaping the consequences of having to wake him up. So it's that kind of thing that's missing, I think. But so far, like, yeah, it's an explanation as to, some things are happening. We don't know what's going on in Sesshomaru's head. He obviously tried to like save his daughters and all that, with Jacken, being the one looking after them. But I mean, it's kind of nice that they didn't make Sesshomaru, OOC or anything like that. It just felt like, a lot of like facts put together so that it can have a narrative. It's sort of like, when it's basically like just this video where I'm just throwing facts at you here and there without being so cohesive about it. And that's exactly what the episode felt like. Like, it gave us answers, sure, but it's not, it gave us answers, but it's not something that's cleanly executed in a way. It's more of just like, okay, so you want answers, here are the answers. We won't give you enough time to like process or care for any of these details or facts. It's just there. And then the next episode, we're gonna have a Moroha-centric episode, which is nice in a way because she's being sort of like just this put aside for this entire time. It's just that, again, I really, really hope that, and I understand that based on Riku's sort of like breaking the fourth wall thing in the end of episode 15, there's going to be more, another episode to explain things. It's just that, again, they could have, executed this one better, especially with the weight that it carries for the entire narrative. So, yeah. Now, with that said, so tell me down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on that particular episode? What are your thoughts or expectations or predictions for episode 16? And please be nice in the comment section. But yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and you would want to hear more from me, please hit subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll be seeing you again soon in a new one.